Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma and this here is my little craft corner where I talk about knitting and sometimes yarn related stuff. And today I wanted to record a little knit and chat video for you, combined with a bit of a Q&A because recently I asked on my Instagram stories if you had any questions for me to answer in the video, and this is the video. So I have the questions that you asked me right here. I also asked on Instagram, on YouTube, on the community tab. And I put everything I got on my list, and I'll talk through that in a bit. But for now, I also just wanted to chat with you because it's been, I guess, about 2 months since I did my first knit and chat. And I really enjoyed just talking to the camera and knitting a bit. And yeah, just doing all that. My chair is a bit creaky today, so I hope you don't mind that much because I only have one chair, but it's a bit squeaky. Anyway, as you might have noticed, my background has been changing quite a lot over the past few weeks, or weeks to a month maybe. That is because I have moved again. I now live in the same studio apartment as where my first videos were filmed. So it's a fun full circle moment. I did change some things around, so I think this will be my background from now on, but things are of course subject to change. I don't know what I might think in a week. Maybe I'll switch everything around again. You never know. But if you've seen the background change a bit, you are absolutely correct because it has. Yeah, that's the whole thing. I am currently living here again, but I'm only allowed to stay for 6 months, a bit around 6 months. So I'm looking for another place to live. It's a whole thing, but we're doing good. I just wanted to update you on the life stuff a bit, but the plus is that I do have this nice background with my yarn binder, my yarn bowl, my knitting books, my typewriter, and my vinyls right behind me whenever I'm just making videos. And I really like this background for now. I also brought my project with me. I am knitting the Amadeo summer sweater by Codie by Johanna. This is a test knit. It's currently looking like this. I just did the collar. I bound off this morning. She would bind off. The sleeves are absolutely gorgeous. It's this beautiful lace pattern. I love it. And I'm now just working the body because I wanted to do the sleeves, but oh god, I dropped many stitches. I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back. Didn't take too long, but oh yeah, I was saying I wanted to do the sleeves first before I did the rest of the body, but I don't have the correct needles to work the sleeves. Right now I really wanted to knit them on 40 centimeters circumference, and I only have a 60 centimeter cable. I do have a 40 centimeter cable, but I only have long interchangeable needles for 3.5 millimeters, 3.5 millimeters. I'm all over the place today, so sorry for that. So yeah, I only have long 3.5 millimeter needles. So what I came up with was just ordering a new set of needles. Whoops. It is somewhat of a graduation gift to myself, or well, my grandma gave me some graduation money because I guess technically, I don't know what my graduation status is, but I have submitted my thesis beginning of this month, beginning of March, and it has been approved by both my readers because you have two readers in the Netherlands. You have your first reader who is also your supervisor, and then your second reader who has nothing to do with writing, with the writing of your thesis whatsoever. So whenever you submit it, that is the first time your second reader will see it, and then they will just judge it without without knowing what you've been through, basically. So both of them said it was a passing mark, and we kind of speed ran the process of grading because there was a graduation halfway through March, but so they speed ran the grading so that I could attend, but then I wouldn't be able to actually get my diploma yet. I would have just gotten an empty case that the diploma gets in, and I could still have done my little 3-minute speech. I would have gotten my 3-minute speech. So everything was approved for that, but in the end I just decided not to go. Because I was also quite sick, and I don't know, I just imagined it differently. So now I am not officially graduated. Like, I know both my readers gave me a passing grade, but we didn't sit around the table and discuss my final grade, so I don't have a final grade yet. So I cannot fill in my graduation form yet to officially graduate. So I'm technically still a student, but I'm practically graduated. And I guess I just also like wanted a win. So I shared the news that my thesis had been approved by both my readers, and then my parents just gave me a nice card and some flowers, and my grandparents gave me a card with some money in it, and I used that money to buy a new needle set, which is it was a very long-winded way of saying that I bought myself a needle set, but oh well. I don't know how long this video will be, but I can imagine it being pretty long because I'm going on tangents all the time. So yeah, I decided to put that money towards buying a new needle set. I already have the Chogu red lace mini set, or the red, it's not the red lace set, but it's the red mini set for sock knitting. It comes with sizes 2mm to 3.25. And then they have two other sets, one blue one and one yellow one. And the blue one is 3.5 to 4 to 5, I think. Yeah, to 5, no. 4.75 maybe? I don't know. And then there's another set that is 5 through 8, I believe. And I got myself the blue set because I am a Chogu girl. I'm currently knitting on Drops Pro Classic circular needles, and I got an entire set for 40 euros whenever I started knitting a year ago. I just really wanted to get myself an interchangeable knitting set. So I got myself like the cheapest one from Drops, which it's fine, it works great. But I'm ready for an upgrade, and ever since I've had the red Chogu set, I'm sold to Chogu now. I love those needles so freaking much that I want to get all the Chogu sets. So I'm starting with the red and the blue set. I got the red set for my birthday last year, and now I got the blue set on my own, yeah, with my grandparents' graduation money that they gave me. But I did decide to buy it on my own. And then I have the yellow set still on my wish list, but I thought one set would be enough by now, for now. So yeah, I have bought that set and some and one 35cm cable so that I can create a 40cm circumference to knit these sleeves. Now this testing deadline is pretty short, It is 1 month for a whole sweater, so it's a bit intense, but it has been going pretty quickly because this is what I've done in 2 weeks now. Like 2 weeks, and this is the fitting. Well, not. This is how far I've gotten, and this I need to make this 31 centimeters. It is currently 12 centimeters, and then the sleeves. I think the sleeves will be pretty fast because I always find that when I knit stockinette, it just seems to go on for ages and ages and ages. And whenever I do something with like an interesting motif to it, it just flies off the needles. And the other testers in the test knit group have said that the sleeves are just very addictive to knit and just they fly off the needles. So I'm crossing my fingers and hoping they are correct, because 1 month is a pretty ambitious testing period for a sweater, and I just wanted to do at first I just wanted to focus on the yoke, split for sleeves, then do the collar, and then do one sleeve, and I was pretty on track for that. And then I wanted to do the other sleeve and then finish the body, so that I'd hopefully have a finished object by the time the testing period ends. But if I, for some reason, didn't make it, I would still have done every single part to give sufficient feedback to the designer, which is Colini by Johanna. I'm testing for her again. I have tested for her before and I loved testing for her. So I'm doing it again. But yeah, I think a month is pretty short. Deadline is midway through April, I think April 15th or something, around that date, which is coming up pretty fast, I must say. But it's fine. We're doing good. I'm on schedule. I kind of made myself a little schedule on which I wanted to hit certain deadlines, which has all gone out of the window now that I'm knitting the body instead of the sleeve right now. But yeah, it's all gone out of the window, but I am on track. I am on track. I know this stockinette part I can just continuously knit throughout the entire day and night, and then I'll be fine. I can speed run this if I really have to. But just the sleeves are a bit more complicated to do because I mostly knit on my work breaks. I get half an hour lunch break at work, and then doing lace work is not really what I'm looking for when I bring a project to work. And then I get home at around 6 p.m. and then I'm pretty tired most of the days, so doing lace work then might be an issue. So I just have to find a time frame for me to knit this. But if I have that down, I can do it. It is a fingering weight sweater on 3.5mm needles. I am using a sport weight yarn, the Lana Grossa Cool Wool Melange, in a really weird color. It is a bit of reddish purple brown with sometimes it has a bit of a red speckles to it, sometimes it has like a black speckle, somewhere like this. There's just a huge black speckle that came out of nowhere, but it's fine. I'll either take it out or I'll just leave it in because I do think it adds a bit of character to the sweater. And there's also some red speckles just throughout the yarn. But I do really enjoy this yarn. I'm quite glad that I got gauged with a sport weight yarn for a fingering weight needle, for a fingering weight sweater. It is mostly probably because this is a very loose gauge. It is a fingering weight sweater, but the gauge still is, I believe it is 22 stitches. So for fingering weight, that would just mean a very holy fabric, which is not my preferred fabric, but it is of course a summer sweater, so that makes sense. But just using a sports weight kind of filled in the gaps for me, so it's a bit more sturdy, and I do really like that. I don't know if it will be a summer sweater for me, because this is 100% merino yarn and it is fingering weight, so should be fine on the somewhat hotter days, but in the heat of summer I will not be tempted to wear this, and that's fine. It's not as if I'm knitting a summer sweater so I have to wear it in summer all day every day. I can just wear it whenever. The color also is screams maybe a bit more autumn to me, but for spring it will be great. And I have tried this on this morning, even when I bound off the collar, and a couple of days ago whenever I put it on some white thread to work the collar. Sorry, just take a sip of tea. I have tried it on and it fits amazing. I will insert a picture that I took of me wearing it. It fits amazing and it feels so soft. I love to work with merino. I love how soft it feels. It's just great. And I feel like this will be an incredible sweater to wear. I will not be able to wear it to work, unfortunately, I think, because it is a bit of a warmer sweater and I'm running around at work all day. I usually do somewhere between 10 and 13,000 steps a day, which is a lot, and most of it is running up and down the stairs or running through the museum or through the office even. Sometimes it's just lots of running or just, well, speed walking, if I'm honest. It's just I'm always on the go, and I really don't want to ruin this sweater by running around and being all sweaty and then not being able to get the smell out of it or something. I don't know. It's just, I feel like this is going to be a precious sweater that I'll only wear on special occasions or when I'm at home and I want to feel pretty, because I do work 4 days, which means I'm at home for 3 days. So I do sometimes want to be a bit more presentable than just wearing pajama pants and a slouchy sweater. So this might be perfect for that. Or just whenever I go for a brunch date, which is once every 2 years maybe. But whenever I go out for lunch or brunch or something with friends, I can just wear it and feel pretty. This is just a sweater that I think I'm going to feel very pretty in, and I'm going to feel very confident in, is the word I'm looking for. Just, it's one of those sweaters where I'm like, oh, please ask me where I got it, because I made it and you cannot really tell that I made it, I guess, because it just looks so pretty. And then I know it's just one of those, oh, please compliment me on my sweater because I made it myself kind of sweaters. And I feel like this is going to become one of my favorite things real quick. And lots of testers have been saying that this has quickly become one of their favorite things to knit. And that they can also feel that this is going to be one of the favorite things in their wardrobe whenever it is finished. So, I don't know, this is just perfect. It's also, I have had this yarn in stash for yeah, almost an entire year. I think for 11 months, which is practically a year. I've had this in stash for 11 months just because I loved the look of the yarn and the feel of the yarn, and I don't know, I just fell in love with the yarn and the color. And then I bought 8 skeins of it, which sweater quantity. But I just have never found a project that I really liked for it. I was just waiting for the perfect project to come along. And then after 11 months, this one came along and it is perfect. And I'm pretty sure that the deadline of this test knit is pretty close to the 1 year mark where I bought it. I'll have to check that because I know exactly when I bought it if I just look back on my calendar, because I went to Wolplein, which is a big yarn store in the Netherlands, with some of my knit friends from Lisa's Knit Club. And then I bought this yarn there, and yeah, I have put that date in my calendar, and I know it was somewhere in the middle of April. So yeah, I don't know, it just kind of meant to be this sweater. It is, the yarn and the pattern just found themselves on their own. I remember seeing this picture of Johanna, where she first introduced the sweater and didn't put a test knit application out yet, but it was like, oh, this is what I'm currently working on, and like, I just fell in love with the pattern, and I immediately knew this is what this yarn is going to be. And I didn't even have the yarn with me or anything, or I didn't even look at the yarn, but I could just see it all fit. Then I checked the gauge, and the gauge was pretty close to whatever this gauge is. I don't know, it just, everything fell into place, and this is the result of it, is this sweater that I am so excited to be knitting. I don't know, it's just, I see that I'm fangirling over this sweater for 23 minutes now. I don't know how long it has been for you watching. I don't know how long you've had to hear me ramble on and on and on about this sweater. But I just love it. It's perfect. It's, I don't know. And I also want to speed around this because I just want to have it in my closet right now. I want to wear it right now for this video. But that's unreasonable. So anyway, to circle back, I bought new needles. They're coming in hopefully this week, because next weekend, which is, when you're seeing this, I'm probably already on my way back home. But this weekend I'm going to Ghent with some people from my study. And we're just going there on a city trip because we all study Dutch language and culture. So our study association organizes a trip to a foreign land, which usually is Belgium, which is literally one country over. Last year I was on the board of my study association, and we went to Germany, to Münster. But this year we were going to Ghent, and I'm very excited about that. I'm very happy to just go somewhere that is organized with people that I really like. Yeah, but I hope I get my needles in time for that trip so I can take it with me, because we're going with a Flixbus, which is a bus, and I'd love to be knitting on the bus. I have lots of other things to knit, but I feel like that'd be a perfect time also to knit my sweater, just when I'm stuck on a bus anyway. So yeah, I just hope I get my needles in time for that trip. But if not, I again have enough to knit. I'm still working on my camisole number 5. I haven't really worked on that because I've just been prioritizing this test knit. And I'm also working on another test knit, and I'm also prioritizing right now, which is some socks. I just, with the first sock, did the heel. I did a German short row heel. And so I have the foot and toe to go. We are only required to knit 1 sock to submit our feedback, but obviously I want to knit both socks because I want to have 2 socks, obviously. But that deadline, the testing period started maybe a day later than this sweater did. And the deadline is 1 day after this sweater deadline. So that's something. I'm knitting on that also a lot right now. Just whenever I'm tired of knitting on this, I switch over to the socks. And whenever I'm tired of the socks, I switch over to this. So I'm pretty, well, just not monogamous knitting, but I'm only knitting my test knits right now. I don't know if there's a way to describe that, but it is test knit central currently here in this household. But I do love that. I love working on test knits. And that actually brings me into one of my first questions that I have here. I have not forgotten about the Q&A part. So the first question that I have here is, how many test knits have you done already? As I just said, I am working on 2 right now. I have 1 coming up, and I have already finished 2 in the past. Both of them were for Johanna. So Codedly by Johanna on Instagram. I knit the Edgar cardigan, which is my blue cardigan. I'll put up a picture here of the cardigan. And then I also did my George's top. I almost forgot the name. The George's top, the one with the bows. And picture here again. And I am lengthening that camisole because I knit it a bit too short because I was playing yarn chicken. I mean, in my defense, the test knit listing said I only needed 3 skeins of the Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. And then I went ahead and I already bought the yarn. And then I got the pattern in my email and it said I needed 4. And I didn't want to buy a 4th skein. So I just tried to do it with 3. And I did manage. But I had to shorten one of the ends of the bows. Because you knit 4 sides and then you do the bows on both. I think I shortened one of the bows and I cropped the heck out of that camisole. It's barely, I mean, it comes down to maybe here or something. You can see it in the picture also, but I cropped the heck out of it, which is not practical if I want to wear it. But it did help me finish the cardigan, the camisole in time without having to buy a whole new skein and paying shipping costs for all that. But I recently bought another skein because I had a gift card to Knitting for Olive that I received for Christmas. And they were doing their donation for Ukraine. So I just bundled up some of the things I wanted to order from Knitting for Olive. I also bought some mohair from them. And I just did one order to get it out of my system. So now I have that skein laying around here. I just need to find a time to work on that camisole, which will be after all the test knit craziness is over. But to summarize, I have done 2 test knits before. Both of them were for Codedly by Johanna. And I'm working on 2 right now. 1 for Codedly by Johanna and 1 for Lemon Squeezy Knits, which is the sock that I talked about in my previous knitting podcast. So if you're wanting to know a bit more about that, you can head over to to my previous knitting podcast, and I'll fill you in on all that there in the whip section. And then I have one test coming up, which is the Thank You Very Much top by Carlijn's Corner. And she doesn't have a picture yet of the finished product, and I haven't started it yet, so I cannot show you that. But I have showed the yarn in my previous knitting podcast, so you can refer back to there in, I think, the upcoming projects. Yeah, it should be in the upcoming projects section. So yeah, 5 test knits in total, 2 finished, 2 in progress, 1 coming up. And I don't know, I really enjoy doing test knits. I enjoy getting to know other people in the knitting community. I enjoy kind of troubleshooting with everyone, just figuring out just kind of the iffy parts of some of the patterns, because obviously there will be some mistakes in there. You cannot go into a pattern test expecting everything to be perfect, because then you would just be buying a released pattern. Which is being one of the first to knit a pattern, having that community to help you go through the process of knitting stuff. It's kind of being in touch with the designer, getting to know them a bit, getting to know their writing style, giving feedback on mostly just formulations, just being like, oh, you can write this a bit more clearly maybe, or I got confused on this part, or you have one of the tests I did had left out a section, and I was like, oops. So she could add that before releasing the pattern, which is great, which is what the testers are for. So there's no shame in making those tiny mistakes. That's why you have pattern testers. So I really just love it, and I also love having the deadline, which is a bit weird, but I do enjoy working on a deadline, because that means I have a fixed moment where it has to be finished, which motivates me to actually finish a project, because I have a tendency to just knit on something and then kind of abandon it or lose steam on it, and then, oh, I'll revisit that later. I never revisited, so then it is months later and it's still untouched and unfinished, and then all the motivation just kind of goes away, and then I just end up with 10 whips that I was once very excited about, and I still want to have them in my wardrobe, but they're on the bottom shelf in my wardrobe in the whip pile, or the UFO pile. I don't know, it's just having the deadline and having the feeling of, oh yeah, I need to have this finished before then, and I need to have taken a picture of it by then to post on my socials, so that one, I actually post on my socials, because one of my New Year's resolutions was to share more, and I haven't really done that much. Whoops. I really wanted to share more on my Instagram. I'm sorry, I'm just turning this chair around. I really wanted to share more on my Instagram, but I haven't really done that yet. So just finishing these test knits and posting about them on my socials. Once, makes me post on my socials. 2, again, the deadline thing kind of gives me that fire to finish it, to work on it, and yeah. That's why I really love pattern tests, but I only apply for tests that I know I will like the finished objects of. I will not test something just because it is a designer that I really like. I will only test if it is a pattern that I like. I'm not testing for the designer. Well, I'm testing for the designer in the sense of I'm testing to give them feedback. But my priority is, do I love this pattern, and will I wear it, or will I love the finished object? I'm not sure if I'll ever test knit to gift the finished object to someone. I don't know if I'll ever do that. I don't think so. No, I don't think I'll ever do that. I think I'll always be test knitting to have the finish always for myself. I don't think I will be like, oh, my sister will love this sweater, so let me just apply for this test knit so I can knit it for her. No, I just don't see that happening. This is a very long-winded way to answer your question, but thank you for submitting it, and I'll just take a sip of tea because my mouth is getting a bit dry right now. So the next question I have is, how or when did you start knitting? And this is a question that I can answer in two parts or two ways. Starting with, I learned how to knit from my grandma when I was really young, when I was in elementary school. She taught me and my sister how to knit, and we just knit garter stitch squares, or I have a bunch of scarves from that time, and just garter stitch squares that were supposed to one day be a blanket. I made a whole video on rediscovering my old knits, which I will link up here somewhere for you to watch. But yeah, that's when I learned how to knit. But once I got around the age of 12 and I went to high school, my grandma babysat us for 2 days a week in elementary school, and then in high school that kind of phased out. So I didn't visit my grandma a lot anymore, and she had all the yarn and needles. So I guess it's both that I didn't really have access to my projects anymore, and also that I just got busy with schoolwork, or I just wasn't super into it, I guess, because we were just knitting scarves back and forth. So it's not like we were making raglan sweaters or intricate lace patterns or anything. It's just knitting back and forth. I knew how to knit, I knew how to purl, I knew how to cast on, and I knew how to cast off. But I didn't know all the other crazy things like lace work or anything like that. Decreasing, increasing, never heard of her. So then I stopped knitting, and then I picked it back up in November of 2021, so I was 22 at that time. And yeah, I just picked it back up because I really wanted to knit some Christmas stockings, or, well, I really wanted to have Christmas stockings, but I couldn't really find basic ones of good quality still. I had a vision in my mind and I couldn't find it in the store. And then I guess I kind of just remembered that I once knit. No, I'm sorry, I'm skipping part. So I stopped knitting when I was 12, and then I went to high school, and after that I went to college. And in college, I kind of tried to pick it up a few times. I think, yeah, I know 3 attempts. Yeah, I know two attempts at knitting were done in university. So I went to university in 2018 when I was 19 years old. And at my first midterm week, I just wanted to start knitting again. I don't know. I think I walked into the Zeeman, which my Dutchies will know what store that is. It's a store where they have a little bit of everything. They have some clothes, they have some hobby supplies, they have just household supplies, just a little bit of everything again. I walked in there and I saw some needles and some yarn. I still have the yarn. It is purple, fuzzy yarn. It is chenille yarn. Don't know if that rings a bell or anything. And I just thought that was very cute, and I wanted to take it home with me, so I did. But I never actually used it. Whoops. And I just couldn't get the hang of it because I obviously picked the weirdest material. I picked chenille, which is, I don't know, if you don't know, it's just a tiny string with just bobbles on it. Just weird bobbins everywhere. It's a bit thicker string than this. It is made for a 10mm needle. I don't know, it just didn't work with the vision that I didn't have in mind. I didn't have a vision, but this was not it. So I abandoned that and I looked on Google Maps to find a craft store, and I went there and I bought myself one blue skein of yarn and one white skein of yarn with the plans to make a garter stitch blanket, just a patchy garter stitch blanket. And I think I did 2 squares before not wanting to do it anymore, or just I got too busy because I was at uni and it was midterm week, so I don't know what got into me thinking I could just pick up a new hobby during midterm week. Yeah, that was a failed attempt, and then I guess 1 or 2 years later, which I remember it was when the Harry Styles cardigan was very popular, which will be useful later in my story. But I don't remember when it was. It was just COVID was already here, but just, you know, COVID had its ups and downs. We were in a phase where COVID was a bit down, the numbers were down, so everything was opening up a bit. So me and one of my friends went to a craft store because I wanted to knit a rainbow cardigan, so cardigan in rainbow colors. And we visited some of the craft stores in Leiden. I studied in Leiden. And in one of the stores, we told the lady what I was looking for. So like, yeah, I want to knit a cardigan in rainbow colors. And then she's like, oh, the Harry Styles cardigan? Or she said it in different words, but that's what she meant. And I'm like, no, just the cardigan in rainbow colors, I guess. I didn't really know what I was looking for. So I went home with 6 skeins, 6 100-gram skeins. And I found a pattern, and I think I did 3 or 4 rows of the ribbing. It was going to be a bottom-up cardigan. I did 3 or 4 rows of the ribbing, and then I gave up because the rows were too long. I think that's it. I think the rows were just too long. But yeah, that's why I gave up on that. And then that must have been, I think it was, no, it might have been 2020. Yeah, later in 2022. So I think fall 2020, no, fall 2020, I mean. I believe it was fall 2020 when I did that, and then November 2021, I really picked it back up. And I started knitting the Christmas stockings that I just told you about. And then I just got into it. It went. I started knitting sweaters. Well, once I finished the what's it called, the stockings, I then used the rainbow yarn from 2020 to make, or to start, a rainbow camisole that I finally finished at the end of 2022. Because it was my own design. It was my second project and I already was designing on my own. Which is great, which is fun, which is absolutely crazy. And after that, I went on to knit a sweater, also without a pattern, a top-down raglan sweater. And then I kind of discovered that there are patterns, and I started knitting patterns. And life has been so much easier since then. So that is how/when did you start knitting? Bit of a long-winded answer from my part. Again, sorry, but yeah, that's how. That's the story of how I started knitting. And then I have another question, which comes from someone very close to me. I will not say who it is, but maybe you can deduct it by hearing this question, because the question is, what role did your parents play in your knitting story? I have translated the question for you because it was originally asked in Dutch, so maybe some of the nuance has gone. But to answer the question, what role did my parents play in my knitting story? They've been a big support for me ever since I started knitting, or ever since I reshared that I started knitting. It's just been a great support from them all the way through. My family goes to craft fairs with me. My dad always drives us, and my mom crochets as well. My grandma has knit before, but she mostly sews now. So we just go to craft fairs together. The handwerk, the four of us go to the handwerkbeurs every year. And then I go with my mom and my dad to the breidagen, because that's only focused on yarn and my grandma only sews, so it's not really the place for her. But yeah, my dad mostly supports me in driving me around to craft places, supporting yarn financially. He has bought yarn for me. He recently, when I was staying at my parents for a week, I realized that I had forgotten some needles, so he drove me to the craft store and gave me the needles and some extra yarn. I made some use of his debit card there. Whoops. But he supports me in that way, and just by giving me supplies, by making my life a bit easier. I'm currently filming on a tripod, which he provided. I'm using a microphone, which he provided. Just, he supports in that way. And my mom, I can talk a bit more yarn related stuff with my mom. Just, sharing fiber stuff, buying yarn together, talking yarn, talking patterns. Like, she crochets and I knit. So obviously there's a bit of a difference in there, but still we do share somewhat of a hobby. She says that she always watches my videos on Monday during her lunch break, because I post on Sundays, and then she watches them on Monday during lunch break, which is just so cute. To me, it's just so fun to hear that. It is crazy to think that my family watches me, or just that anyone watches me, really, because I don't know, I'm just currently talking to my phone while knitting, and I just don't really realize that there are like 600 of you subscribed right now that are watching this, which is crazy. So if you're watching, hi mom, hi dad, hi anyone who I know who is watching this. I don't know really, I don't know how many people actually watch my videos who know me. So please make yourself known in the comments, or tell me personally if you watch me, because I'd be very curious to know who actually watches my videos. Which is a great message to bury 50 minutes into a video, because I will know who the real ones are who watch my videos. I know where to find you. But yeah, it's my parents and my whole family just supports me greatly in both my knitting and in my YouTubing, my YouTube story. I don't know, it's great to have this support. It's so fun. It's so incredible. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question a bit. Yeah. Sorry. I have 2 questions left. The first one, or the second to last one, is what is your favorite project thus far? And this is a really tough one, and I obviously looked at the questions before I pressed record on here, but I didn't really formulate an answer for this question specifically because it's such a difficult one. It kind of feels like choosing between your favorite kid, because I put a lot of time and effort into knitting, into making projects for me or to gift to people. There's just so much time in here, and obviously some money, because yarn isn't free. Yarn supplies are not free. There's just a lot of time, energy, and money that goes into this. It's just really hard to pick a favorite. I think this sweater is going to become a favorite of mine, but that might just also be recency bias, because I am currently knitting this, so obviously I am in love with it right now, but I'm also in love with the other sweater that I knit, which is my own design, which is most of the reason why I love it, because it's not the greatest sweater ever, absolutely not. It is filled with mistakes, but it is the first sweater that I made, and this my own design, which is crazy that I did that. But yeah, I think this is going to be something that I wear a lot, which kind of is what I'm going to be basing my answer on, just how much I wear things. By the way, these Sunday socks that I recently finished are also pretty high on my favorites list, because I do wear these almost every single day. They are super soft, super fun to wear. They were super quick and easy to knit. It's just, the pattern is perfect. The yarn is perfect. The finished object is perfect. So that might be a favorite. But maybe the first thing that I was just kind of surprised by my skills, I guess, with, or just in the sense of, wow, I made this. Or, well, I am making this because it's not finished yet, would be my camisole number 5. Just the way that it is constructed is so beautiful, and I know I'm just following whatever the pattern says and using my 2 sticks and yarn, just banging them together and doing exactly what the pattern says, but still, I think that was the first project where I was just shocked by what I did, or what I can do. Just being like, this looks exactly like something I would buy in the store, except I made it, or I am making it. So, to summarize, these, because I wear them all the time. This one, because it is so beautiful and I know I'm going to wear it all the time. And my camisole number 5, because I'm just shocked at my ability to make it. I don't know, they're all favorites in different ways, but I think those 3 are also things that I'm going to be wearing a lot, and things that I'm going to be happy that I knit still in 5 years maybe. I don't know if these socks will survive 5 years, but I will just knit new Sunday socks every time these run out of, or have run their course. I would just knit new ones, because that's how much I love these. So I hope that answers your question a bit, and thank you for asking it. Then the last question that I have, I see that I'm already recording 55 minutes, so I'm kind of planning on wrapping this up, because I've never made a video this long before. So the last question that I have here is, what do you like to do besides knitting? which kind of spiraled me into an identity crisis because knitting kind of has become my personality the past few years, or the past year. Like, what else do I do? I don't know. I just knit. But no, I do actually do other things. I really like listening to music. I have my vinyls here. I think from this vinyl until this is all Taylor Swift, almost her entire discography I have here. I love listening to Taylor Swift. I love listening to music in general. I have some Vrouwtje for my Dutchies. I have a whole bunch of vinyls here, but my favorite artists, let me see if I can find them real quick. Where are they? Oh, here they are. My favorite artist of all time is Half Moon Run, and this is the only vinyl that I have of them, which is just a single, because this holds a cover of one of my favorite songs by Leonard Cohen, which is Suzanne, and I really wanted to have that on a hard copy because it's not on any streaming platforms, and it is a limited time pressing this, but I had to have it shipped all the way from Canada because Half Moon Run is a Canadian band, so I had to have this shipped, which cost a ton of money, but I really wanted to have this. I really want to get their other vinyls, but I just have to get them whenever I see them on tour in October. They were the first artists that I saw live when I was, I think, about 15 or 16 years old. No, I'm pretty sure I was 15. And I saw them live with my dad, and then 4 years later I saw them live as well with my dad again. I was front row. I got to meet the entire band afterwards, which was incredible, amazing. Loved every second of that. And now I'm seeing them again this October. The concert was scheduled for last November, I believe, but it has been rescheduled due to some illness in the band. I just love, I think they're my favorite artists of all time, just because I grew up listening to them and they keep coming out with new music. They don't really have a genre. It's just all over the place, which is incredible, and I love them, but I will stop talking about them. So I listen to music quite a lot. What else? I watch Formula 1. Every Sunday, every weekend, I watch Formula 1. I don't know, I just love it so much. I have a vague memory of me being like young. I must have been younger than 5 years old, or I don't know. I'm really bad at guessing kids' ages, even my own, when I have my own memories. But I just remember sitting on the couch and my dad was watching Formula 1 and I was just staring with the little car when we got the onboard video. And that's just one of the memories that I have from being young. Then I didn't really watch it that much growing up. But I think when I was 13, 14 maybe, I got back into it and I have not stopped watching ever since. I love it so much. I watch it every Sunday, every weekend, whenever it's on. I'm not as involved in it as I was maybe a couple years ago. Just, I don't know why really, but I was really caught up with all the drama, all the everyone's business. I knew everything, and now I'm just more someone who is really into it in the weekends, but then it doesn't really consume the rest of my life anymore, because I now knit, so that consumes my life already. So I don't have time to have Formula 1 consume my life. So I do that. I have recently, well, it's not really a hobby or anything, but I bought a puzzle, so I'm puzzling now. and I really want to get back into reading. I have a lot of books, and I have read about 10% of the books on my shelves, maybe, which sounds like a lot, but I have a lot of books, so I have a lot of catching up to do, and I don't know, I really want to get back into reading as well. Oh, and I obviously watch some shows on Netflix from time to time. I'm currently watching You still. I know I'm a bit slow on that, but just life has been crazy. I had a lot of knitting podcasts to catch up on, but now that I'm all caught up, I will get back into You. I am in the middle of the 7th episode right now, and I'm just kind of going through it very slowly, also because I don't want it to end. Yeah, I'm watching You at the moment, and then I'm still also watching Drive to Survive as well, the most recent season. And after that, I'll just have to see what is next for me. I don't know, I'm not a huge binge watcher on Netflix, but I do from time to time like to watch an episode or a movie or something. Also Disney Plus or HBO or just all that. Yeah, so that's a bit more of an insight into who I am and what I'm doing when I'm not knitting or while I'm knitting, because I'm obviously watching Netflix or watching Formula 1 with a project on my lap and just enjoying it. Yeah, that's all the questions I received for this video. I really enjoyed answering the questions. I really enjoyed talking to you. And yeah, I might do this again sometime soon. So make sure you're following me on Instagram, so whenever I ask for more questions, you are prepared to send me all your questions and I can answer all of them again. And in the meantime, you can just stay updated with me on here. I post videos every single week, every single Sunday. And yeah, so I'll see you guys again real soon. Bye!